And then we also can increase other things too, primarily potassium. Why? Because potassium will help lower insulin, help you store sugar, and you want to get it from the food. So you would need to consume at least 7 to 10 cups of vegetable, or the kale shake I recommend because it has all the potassium in it. You can make it. I show you how to, on my website, how to make that. 7 to 10 cups of vegetable to get your potassium. That will also really help cravings because it's going to lower insulin. Number 2, you want to increase vitamin B1, but really the other B complexes, vitamins too. But I recommend getting this not from a pill, but from nutritional yeast. Why? Because nutritional yeast is a great form of natural B vitamins that will greatly assist in lowering insulin. Why? Because when you consume all this sugar, you're actually dumping all your B vitamins from your potassium out to the urine up to 15 times more than if you didn't have this problem. So you're losing all this. And don't worry, consuming nutritional yeast won't give you a yeast infection. All right, then the last thing I want to recommend would be protein. Because protein is a nutrient and it's blocked from the cell, you're probably going to be deficient in protein. So you need to have protein as not to the urine up to 15 times more vitamin B1, but really the other B complexes, vitamins too. Vitamin B1 I recommend because it has all the potassium in it. You can make it. I show you how to, on my website, how to make that. 7 to 10 cups of vegetable to get your potassium. That will also really help cravings because it's going to lower insulin. Number 2, you want to increase vitamin B1, but really the other B complexes, vitamins too. But I recommend getting this not from a pill, but from nutritional yeast. Why? Because nutritional yeast is a great form of natural B vitamins that will greatly assist in lowering insulin. Why? Because when you consume all this sugar, you're actually dumping all your B vitamins from your potassium out to the urine up to 15 times more than if you didn't have this problem. So you're losing all this. And don't worry, consuming nutritional yeast won't give you a yeast infection. All right, then the last thing I want to recommend would be protein. Because protein is a nutrient and it's blocked from the cell, you're probably going to be deficient in protein. So you need to have protein, especially for breakfast. Okay, that's very important. Because if you don't, then at the end of the day, your blood sugars are going to be so far off that you're going to need, the need for insulin and medication is going to be much, much greater. Okay, so I hope I helped you understand this. And one last point, insulin stops fat burning. In the presence of insulin, you will not burn fat. So the goal is to lower insulin into a normal level. I hope this helped. See you in the next video. So today I want to talk about COVID-19, the coronavirus, and why certain underlying health conditions put you at risk. So if you look this up, if someone has a pre-existing cardiovascular condition, there's a 13.2% in death rate, so mortality rate. If they have diabetes, they have a 9.2 increase in mortality rate.
Dari girl, give it up again.
Green bandy. Funny.
No more have the bus tonight. Another one. I will never meet the same. Yes. Lady. Tell me. She's not fine. Martha, that's girl. Hey. What's name? What's up, man? I'm out. Everybody's all begging bitches. Begging. The Brazilians give them a nerve. What's up with you guys? So arrogant, they don't give nothing out.
Hello, Joanne. He's gonna do it.
Y'all make sure you follow her, guys. Follow her, guys. Follow me.
В чем проблема-то?
I'm Brazilian. Woo! Stop it. I know better than you.
If it's hypertension, it's an mortality rate. If there's a chronic respiratory underlying health problem, it's an 8% increase in death rate. If it's hypertension, it's an 8.4. Diabetes, they have a 9.2 increase, 0.2 existing cardiovascular condition. There's a 13.2% increase in death rate, or let's say mortality rate. If they have diabetes, they have a 9.2 increase in mortality rate. If there's a chronic respiratory underlying health problem, it's an 8% increase in death rate. If it's hypertension, it's an 8.4% spike in death rate from COVID-19. If they have cancer, it's a 7.6% increase. Now, what's interesting, if a person, it doesn't matter what age, has none of these underlying health conditions, their mortality rate is 0.9%. And this number right here is probably significantly lower because they don't have all the data in yet to actually do this calculation. In other words, there's probably a lot more people who have had COVID-19 and recovered that will show negative on the test unless they do an antibody test. And because of the lack of capacity of testing people, you're not going to be able to get the true numbers. So when you divide those numbers by the number of people tested positive versus the number of people dying, this number is probably going to be way, way lower than this 0.9%. When you have underlying health conditions, the death rate does go up significantly. Now we're going to talk about why. Well, the way the virus penetrates the cells is through a receptor interaction. It's called the ACE2 receptor. So these little spikes that come off the virus connect to this receptor, and then the door opens and they can go in and create their damage. People with cardiovascular problems, diabetes, chronic respiratory problems, hypertension, and cancer have a much higher concentration of these receptors in the cell. But not only that, there's another condition which has higher level of ACE2 receptors as well, and that is insulin resistance. And another connection that I found interesting is this. Cardiovascular problems, found interesting is the resistance. And another connection that I found interesting is this. Cardiovascular problems, diabetes, hypertension, and even sometimes in cancer, you have insulin resistance. And because cancer lives on sugar, and this usually comes from a high carbohydrate diet, and too much refined sugar could potentially damage the cells and lead to cancer, targeting this condition and improving this condition can reduce this, and potentially this one right here. And I'm going to put some links down below. So yes, it's very, very important to take measures to prevent the virus from entering your body. But what about doing something to decrease these underlying health conditions? So instead of targeting these and treating these separately, especially these three right here, it would be much wiser to do something to do with this right here as a causative factor. If you're new to my channel and you don't know what to do to improve insulin resistance, I put a couple links down below of some videos that will introduce you to the ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. And I put the video that you should watch first right here. Check it out.
Что? Говорит, наоборот, да. Может, исполнишь, зачем тебе хочешь за это, не знаешь? Нет. Реально. Да? Ну, все равно тебе, как бы, ерунда. Ладно. Ой, я тоже... А, ну да, да. Ну, да. Рождает, да? Может и было. Ну я понял. Да, понял. Кушать я хочу. Думаю, не делать ничего. Если честно, по-другому. Просто когда горячая, я ее запланировала. И такая она горячая, ничего туда не открывала. И я себя хочу почувствовать. Хорошо. Мягко, комфортно, удобно исполнение. Я поел уже. Ну ладно. Ну, извини, ну, это на самом деле не знаю. По идее так, но видишь, что теперь? Ну, кто что думает? Не знаю, по самочувствию. Да, не может быть. Вымазал. Да, это да, ну это мнение. Это точно. Да, ну это есть. Ты просто не надо. Ну, коротко. Ну, ясно. Ну это не. А, нет. Спайси клава. Ну, не знаю. Ну, смотри сам. У меня в квартире, вот я сейчас, да, вот сейчас, ладно, поехали. Ну, вообще-то, да. Вот сейчас я понимаю, что на улице тепло. Push me somewhere. My back. Значит, ну и что ты хочешь, чтобы я холодный салат ел, что ли? Ничего, как-нибудь. А так тоже нормально. Ну, пробовал хотя бы. Мерзлый, да, ладно. Ну, это правда. Да. QIWI. Ну, наоборот, да.
Today we're talking about the 12 simple and very powerful home remedies that will not only help you prevent hair loss, but also help you regrow the hair back. You know, losing your hair is a devastating experience, and you want to try natural things first before you try medication, simply because there are side effects. So I'm going to show you 12 very effective, very cool things that you can do that are pretty cheap. They don't cost you much money. So get a piece of paper out and write these things down. Now, the first two things I want to talk about, very important, very significant, but very few people